On Global TV News Express, Shettima unveils FG's new incentives to boost agric investments nationwide in business. Lokobiri seeks regional energy integration to tackle $120 billion import bill. And on the foreign scene, UK inflation stable ahead of central bank rate call. In sports, South Africa absent from the FIFA sanction list. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Anita Patrick. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and on Star Times channel 276. The federal government has announced fresh incentives to boost agricultural investment under President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. This was part of ongoing reforms to unlock Nigeria's vast food production potential through new policies that serve as a game changer for agriculture and infrastructure investments in the country. Vice President Shettima spoke in Abuja during the Food and Agriculture Organization's National and Sub-Regional Hand-in-Hand Investments Forum. Away from that, 3 Nigerian pilgrims earlier detained in Saudi Arabia over alleged drug trafficking have regained their freedom. Director Media and Advocacy at the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Femi Babafemi, disclosed this while addressing journalists in Abuja. Kike Lomokere completes the story. While we wait for Kike Lomo to join us on that story, let's tell you that the Chinese language, Mandarin, has become one of the foreign languages to be offered in senior secondary schools in Nigeria in the newly reviewed secondary school curriculum. The Education Secretary of the Federal Capital Territory Administration, Dr. Danlami Hayo, announced the development at the inauguration of the Chinese corner at the Government Secondary School, Tudunwada, Abuja. The project was sponsored by the biggest Chinese construction company in Nigeria, the China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation, CCECC, as part of its corporate social responsibility. Also, September 17th is observed globally as World Patient Safety Day, a day dedicated to raising awareness about patient safety and rallying collective action by governments, stakeholders, and international partners to reduce harm in healthcare delivery. Our health correspondent Zarau Nasiru takes a closer look at the significance of the day in this report.
World Patient Safety Day is an opportunity to raise public awareness, foster collaboration between stakeholders, and mobilize global action to improve patient safety.
World Patient Safety Day was established in May 2019 when the 72nd World Health Assembly adopted a resolution on global action on patient safety. The focus is on preventing and reducing risks, errors, and harm that patients may encounter while receiving medical care. The discipline of patient safety arose in response to the increasing complexity of healthcare systems and the growing incidence of patient harm within health facilities. In an interview, public health physician Dr. Umoha Amobi emphasized that patients who visit hospitals for medical care deserve protection, stressing that the ultimate satisfaction of every healthcare provider is to provide patients return home safely after receiving treatment.
It's important because the patient that comes to the hospital to seek for health care should be protected, should be treated, and go home to the lovely one, alive and healthy. It is important because the joy of every healthcare provider is to make sure that the patient, after seeking for medical services, is healed, managed, and go back to the loved one.
He added that doctors often mobilize stakeholders to actively participate in the management of patients, highlighting the importance of collaboration in ensuring safer health care delivery.
The way we manage our patients, because what we are trying to achieve with the patient care safety is to make sure that we educate the people about the importance of seeking medical practice. We also mobilize the stakeholder to take part in management of patients, because even the doctor can also be a patient one way or the other. We also go ahead and involve everybody, because hospital is like a community that involve everybody. That is why if you look at the building block of health system, we have the work health force, which includes the nurses, the medical scientists, the other staff, and the doctor.
This year's theme is Safe Care for Every Newborn and Every Child, drawing attention to the need for stronger measures in protecting the most vulnerable groups in society. Zahra Nasser, reporting for Global TV News.
Nigerian Army announced that they have arrested a notorious commander of the indigenous people of Biafra and the Eastern Security Network (ESN), identified as Ifeanyi Eze Okorie-Nta, popularly known as Gentle the Yahoo. Okorie-Nta was reported to have been captured in his hideout at Aku-Ihube, Okigwe local government area of Imo State by troops of 34 Artillery Brigade in a joint operation with sister aid security agencies. The military noted that the operation led to the recovery of several exhibits, a cache of arms and items, including one English pistol, 120 rounds of 7.62 millimeter special ammunition, 25 rounds of 7.62 millimeter NATO, a cartridge, 6 mobile phones, military and police uniforms, as well as a German flag. And to Kogi State government has lamented that youths take weapons and food to bandits, vowing to treat such youths as terrorists. The state security advisor Jerry Omar Dare stated this at the palace of Elegbe of Egbe, Oba Ayodele Irukere, while giving progress reports and the efforts of the state government on the fight against insecurity in Kogi West. He noted that intelligence at his disposal indicated that some youths in Okun land used motorcycles to convey weapons and food items to the bandits in the forest. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, says it has activated preparedness plans but assures the public there are currently no active cases of Ebola in the country, while urging vigilance and non-essential travel restrictions to countries with confirmed outbreaks. Our correspondent Zarau Nasiru speaks with medical experts concerning the precautionary measures to be taken and files in this report.
Meanwhile, the World Health Organization has begun vaccinating frontline health workers and contacts of infected individuals in response to a new Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of the Congo's Kasai province. Ebola refers to Ebola virus disease, a severe and often fatal illness in humans and other primates caused by the Ebola virus. It's a hemorrhagic fever that spreads through direct contact with infected bodily fluids and can lead to symptoms like fever, muscle pain, and internal bleeding. In an exclusive interview with a public health physician, Dr. Omoha Amobi says Nigeria needs to be prepared for every outbreak and also mentioned health education concerning the disease as part of the precautionary measures, among others.
We are doing now health education, and that one is surveillance. And we should do that at the point of entry, border entry. Everybody coming from those countries, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Congo, should be checked at the border. Dr.
Omoha Amobi also says Ebola vaccine is the way to go in every country, as the vaccine is the primary method of prevention.
So the vaccine is the way forward. so that everybody will get vaccinated. It's a very deadly disease that they have a high mortality. In fact, it's something we should be concerned about. Other precautionary measure is also government policy. What do I mean by government policy? Government policy is training the healthcare providers, capacity building. When you train them, they'll be ready, they'll be equipped. We also go ahead and equip the hospital for response in pandemic. If you remember what happened in COVID shows that epidemic can overwhelm the country, no matter how sophisticated your healthcare facility is, it can overwhelm. So we need to be prepared for any outbreak.
Ebola was first confirmed in Nigeria on July 23, 2014, when Patrick Sawyer, a Liberian traveler, arrived in Lagos and was later diagnosed with the virus, marking the first index case of the disease in the country. Zahra Nasr, reporting for Global TV News.
Rising cases of insecurity in the nation's capital, Abuja, have continued to draw concerns from residents, from kidnapping to armed robbery and attacks on communities. Citizens say they no longer feel safe. Global TV correspondent Kabir Hassan completes the story.
Once regarded as the safest city in Nigeria, Abuja is now grappling with growing security challenges. Recent incidents of abduction in suburb, highway attacks, cases of phone snatching, one-chance robbery have left many residents anxious. On the streets of the Federal Capital Territory, Nigerians are voicing their frustration.
In terms of security in Abuja, when you make a comparative analysis with Abuja and the Northeast, I think we are experiencing an unstable peace for now, while the Northeast are facing a strong, durable peace, which the government needs a strong intervention. This is something that might not just be done alone and can always be achieved through collaboration and dialogue.
It's not what we are expecting, but at least it is good. Although it's not up to what we should have, but it's okay at least. It's
a little bit safer than other neighboring states, because if you look at Abuja, inside town, you discover there may not be much challenges.
The resident says there is need for stronger community policing, intelligence sharing, and rapid response system to curb insecurity across Nigeria.
There is urgent need for the country, for the leaders to look inwardly, peruse carefully, and find out the lineup of all the people in security.
Well, I think the first thing the government needs to do is to actually, fund these security agencies. They need to be well paid. When they are well paid, then they will take their work more seriously.
Tackling this issue of insecurity in Nigeria is all about strengthening our security force and our borderline, especially the internal crisis we are having.
It's not only from the law enforcement agents. There needs to be a relationship. Security agencies need to work pari passu with the citizen.
While Abuja is still considered safer than many other cities, the growing insecurity in the city center is fueling calls for urgent measures. Residents insist that tackling insecurity in the capital must go hand in hand with addressing the root causes across Nigeria as a whole. Kabir Hassan, reporting for Global TV News.
You're watching the live broadcast of News Express. When News Express returns, Kwara confident of hosting Confederation Cup in Ilorin. Details coming shortly, plus foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. Welcome back. It's good to have you. In business, the federal government's decision to privatize 91 agencies across different sectors has sparked mixed reactions among Nigerians. Some see it as a step towards efficiency and economic growth, while others fear it could lead to job losses and reduce access to essential services. Our business correspondent Samuel Odi has the details.
The announcement made recently by the Bureau of Public Enterprise marks one of the largest privatization exercises in Nigeria's history. The affected agencies cut across key sectors including transportation, agriculture, energy, and communications. Reactions, however, remained divided, while some economic experts argued that the move could usher in greater competitiveness and innovation. Critics warn it might lead to job loss and concentration of wealth in the hands of a few.
We were told that once it is bought over and it's being managed by a private firm, that we are going to have light all over in the country. But the reverse is the case. When they say they will privatize anything of the federal government, they go over to bought over by their companies. You know, when you are in power and you decide to do something like that, you know, it's a selfish ambition that it cannot be acceptable by ordinary.
Some Nigerians maintain that privatization will also curb corruption and waste in the public corporations that have historically underperformed despite huge budgetary allocations, while some, on the other hand, has raised concerns about the structure of which the privatization is handled.
If you look at the structure of NEPA, the people that are running the affairs, are they able to sustain it? Are they able to do the right thing that is meant to be done? Is this still not the same old tactics of, you know, government interference? If my person is not there, I'm not interested in it.
As the nation anticipates the impact of the bold reform, the debate over privatization continues between hopes of economic revitalization and fear of social displacement. Samuel Odi for Global Television News.
Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Hanneken Lukobiri, has called for a deeper regional integration to tackle the $120 billion energy imports bill faced by African countries annually. Lukobiri, who made the call at the African Oil Week 2025 Ministerial and Chief Executive Officer Leadership Forum in Accra, Ghana, stressed that integration remains the most effective strategy to end Africans' energy poverty. The minister, in a statement by his media aide, Neamaka Okafor, in Abuja, noted that shared infrastructure, harmonized standards will enable the continent to secure its energy future. In Abuja, two federal agencies are joining forces to tighten the oversight of Nigeria's leasing industry. The Equipment Leasing Registration Authority and the Bureau of Public Procurement have set up a 7-member strategy and implementation committee. According to Equipment Leasing Registration Authority, the committee will enforce statutory registration rules, ensuring only licensed leasing firms handle transactions involving public funds. On the foreign scene, United Nations investigators have accused Israel of committing genocide in Gaza in a bid to destroy the Palestinians there, blaming Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and other top officials for incitement. Navi Pillay, chair of the United Nations Independent International Commission of Inquiry on Gaza, which does not speak on behalf of the world body and has faced harsh Israeli criticism, found that genocide is continually occurring in Gaza. Here is Uyi Agumokwebe's report on that.
Israel's retaliatory campaign in Gaza has killed nearly 65,000 people, also mostly civilians, according to figures from the health ministry in Hamas-run Gaza that the United Nations considers reliable.
Genocide is occurring in Gaza and is continuing to occur, and the responsibility lies with the state of Israel. We identified 3 persons in this report, and that is Prime Minister Netanyahu, the former Minister of Defense, Gallant, and one other, the President of Israel.
The UN envoy noted that Gazans had been intentionally targeted in the attacks, citing the Rwanda genocide as a typical example.
I see similarities here. It's all those same kind of methods. In any case, the Genocide Convention sets a standard on what they need for intent, to prove intent. Not only the intent to kill, which makes it murder, but the overall intent that that murder was committed with the intention of destroying a group, a named group in whole or in part. In the Rwanda situation, it was a Tutsi group that was targeted, and here we see from all the evidence, it's Palestinian group that is being targeted.
The commission, tasked with investigating the rights situation in the Israeli-occupied Palestinian territories, published its latest reports nearly 2 years after the war erupted in Gaza following Hamas's October 7, 2023 attack inside Israel. A tally of official Israeli figures indicates that the attack resulted in the deaths of 1,219 people, most of them civilians. Uyi Agbomofwegbe, reporting for Global TV News.
And in sport, Nigeria's National Sports Commission has stepped in to resolve disputes within Team Nigeria and the ongoing World Athletics Championship. The commission confirmed that all athletes' allowances and bonuses have now been paid. Director General Bukola Olopade met with athletes and officials of the Athletics Federation of Nigeria, promising continued government support for their welfare. He said the intervention was in line with President Bola Tinubu's directive to prioritize the needs of athletes representing the nation. As Global TV News Express comes to an end, here's a recap of our top stories. On Global TV News Express, 3 Nigerian pilgrims earlier detained in Saudi Arabia over alleged drug trafficking have regained their freedom. In business, President of Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, has declared that Nigeria is on track to become a global powerhouse in fertilizer and petrochemicals, with his company targeting the position of world's largest exporter of fertilizers by 2026. And on the foreign scene, British inflation was unchanged in August. Official data showed on Wednesday, fueling expectation that the Bank of England will not cut interest rates again at its meeting this week. And in sports, Kwara United Nations say they remain hopeful of hosting their Confederation of African Football Cup home tie against Ghana Asante. And that's it on the news. That's a quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and on StarTime channel 276. Kindly follow us across all our social media platforms now showing on your screen. I am Anita Patrick. Have a lovely day ahead of you.